Hello, welcome to my channel. Thank you so much for joining me. I've been collecting a whole heap of rubbish and things that I don't use anymore, which I'm going to be turning all into decorations. So the first one I'm going to be making is Rocky in the tank, and these are some of the things that I'll be using. So the size of the tank that I'm going to be using is 4 foot long, or 122 centimeters long, and 2 feet wide, which is 61 centimeters. So what I'm going to be doing is, because I want 10 centimeter gap on either side of the body, I'm taking off 20 centimeters. So the size of my body that I'm making is going to be 102 centimeters long. To get the correct proportion of my man, or Rocky, I'm going to be reducing the size to 1 meter. And then what I'm doing is I'm dividing that 1 meter by 8. And so to get the correct proportion, what you're doing is you're taking the size of the head and you're dividing your section by going 4 down. So you've got, so that goes up to pretty much the butt, at the bottom of the butt, and across where you've got your head, you're going to be doing the same measurement but going sideways to get the shoulders to go around like that, and then past the butt mark here to get the legs. We're going to go down by 4 as well. So that's pretty much the proportion. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of the head size that we're going to be using. So now the 1 meter divided by the 8 portions gives me 12.5 centimeters, which I'm going to be drawing a template of that size for the head and then measuring it out according to the body. For the arms, we go down by 3 on the side here. So just going down by same size as the head, going down 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3, which takes us just in line, just above the hip bone, so the legs will go like that to the foot and up, and so on. So we've got the torso going right in like that. The arms come through, and that's what I'm going to be trying to achieve by using all that scrap. But obviously I'm going to be bending the legs, but I still need the correct proportions. So I've measured my 12.5 centimeters and I've just drawn an oval for the shape of the head, and that's the template that I'm going to be using to construct Rocky. And now I'm just going to cut that out. I've got a coat hanger which I'm going to be bending according to the shape that I want. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to straighten the top so that I've got something to attach the head to. And then I need to measure the distance for my shoulders. So taking the head in the center like that, and then measuring from the side by 1 and 1. So for the head, I've just got an old t-shirt, and I'm going to be inserting the coat hanger into the back of that and then just wrapping it up so that it's in place, and then I'm going to cover it with a plastic bag just to give me the shape of my head, and then I'm going to secure that with some masking tape. To make the arms, I'm just taking a newspaper and crunching it up like that, and then measuring my 3 for the length that I need. So that's what I'm going to be using, and this little piece at the end here I'm going to be taking and squishing into the side of the coat hanger that I've buckled and bent to form the shape. And then I'm just going to secure that like that with some masking tape. So those are my arms so long. And now we take the bag and just fill it with a bit of newspaper. And I'm putting that in the center to form the torso. So I've got the top part of my body worked out, and now I'm taking one of these big plastic bags that the wood comes in, and I'm measuring up on my piece by 4, and then I'm going to be splitting this bag in half because it's a little bit too wide for one leg, and where it splits up to just over here, this part I'm going to be using to bulk up the chest. And then I'm going to take the sides and fill these with newspaper so I can get the shape of the legs. I've just bent the last piece of newspaper so that it goes upright, so that it's got the shape of the foot. And now I'm just taking that. So we've got the one foot done, and I'm going to do the same on the other leg. Now that I've got my basic shape and size of my man, I can start bulking it up now with some newspaper. To bulk the shoulders up, I've just taken the newspaper and folded it in half to get like a cap, and I'm going to be sticking that onto there so that it bulks the shoulder up quite nicely. And for the chest, I'm just wrapping the newspaper around as well and securing that. And to make it look like it's got abs, I've just rolled the newspaper to give me something like that. And then I'm going to put 3 rows on it so it looks like he's got a 6-pack. For the pectoral muscles, I've done the same thing as I did for the shoulders. I'm just wrapping the newspaper into like a semicircle or a circle or a flat square piece like that, and then just taped it down so he's got the pectorals and it's got its 6-pack. To bulk the arms up, I'm going to use this newspaper again, and I'm just folding it so that it looks like the big side muscle, the triceps on the arm. And as you can see, I've got the shoulder, and then it comes down with the tricep, and then there's the forearm, and then we go down, and then there's the hand at the end. So I'm making 3 extra pieces to fit to cover those. And these ones I'm going to be gluing on with some hot glue. And for the hand, I'm only using half a piece because I don't want it quite as big and bulky as that. And just so that he doesn't look like he's got a completely flat butt, I'm going to be just doing the same thing by just bunking and building a bit of a bulge like that. I've also put an extra layer of newspaper over his head, so I've got a nice uniform surface to work on. So now my body is ready to be wrapped. I'm going to be using toilet paper to wrap him. In a bowl, add 1 litre of water, and a tablespoon of corn flour or cornstarch. And then mix that really well. Once it's mixed quite well, decant that into a spray bottle. I'm going to be using 1-ply toilet paper, but 2-ply is probably better, and all you're going to do is wrap. I do the arms and legs and the head, and I'll leave the torso until these are dried so that I can raise it up and do the torso afterwards. So I'm going to just wrap my man with the toilet paper. You can go around as many times as you want, but I'm going around just the once for the first wrapping. And now what you do is you take your spray that you've decanted into a spray bottle and spray it onto the toilet paper and then mould it so that it sits nicely. And then do the other leg and the arms and head exactly the same way. To wrap the hand, I'm just putting it over the top like that and then around the back and holding it there and then bringing it over the hand like that. And because we haven't put thumbs on the hand, what I'm doing is I'm just taking a piece and folding it over like that and then wrapping around the piece so it stands up by holding it in that position. So now our hand has got a thumb on it. And then just continue wrapping the rest of the arm. I finished the first wrap and sprayed it all, and now I'm going to put that aside to dry, and then I'll do the torso and do a second wrap on the arms and legs when they're all dry. I got this massive piece of cardboard which I managed to get from a mattress, which is what I'm going to be using for this decoration. I'm going to paint the whole thing black. I'm taking some pillow box red and I'm going to just be using a wee sponge like this, and I'm going to just sponge it all over. You can put as much or as little as you want on, and I'm going to do the whole piece like that. I've got the whole thing painted how I wanted to, so it looks like it's quite well weathered, and then I'll be cutting that up. I flipped my cardboard over and now I'm going to be cutting it into strips. So the length of my cardboard is 187 centimeters, which is about 6'2" and the size of my fish tank is 123 centimeters. So what I'm doing is I'm taking my one strip, and because it's so long, I'm just measuring it to 123 centimeters, and I'm cutting a 45-degree angle out of this so that it can bend around to make the corner of the top. Now unfortunately my tank leans against the wall, so I'm only going to be able to do the two side pieces and the front piece, so I'm cutting those ones out. So I need to cut out 6 pieces which are singles, which I'm making 4 centimeters wide. So I need 6 of those at 36.5 centimeters, and I need 2 pieces at 36.5, but I'm going to be scoring at 4 centimeters and cutting it off at 8 centimeters so that I can get them to make a corner piece like that. So I'm taking my piece of cardboard and I've measured it 4 centimeters by 4 centimeters, and I've just drawn a line through it, and I'm going to cut those 2 pieces out so that I have the small little pieces like that, which will be attached to this piece to make the little corners on the top like that. To make the top pieces like that for each of the straps that go down, I'm taking a spare piece and I'm cutting it 4 by 4. So I'm taking my piece of cardboard and I've measured it 4 centimeters by 4 centimeters, and I've just drawn a line through it, and I'm going to cut those 2 pieces out so that I have the small little pieces like that, which will be attached to this piece to make the little corners on the top like that. And for myself, because my tank is only 3-sided that I'm doing, I'm cutting 14 pieces out like that, which will give me 28 of the little triangles. I've got all my pieces prepared, and now I'm going to start gluing them onto my fish tank. To glue my pieces together, I've got tiny pieces of cardboard that I've just cut off, and they're 1 centimeter wide by 2 centimeters long. And what I'm doing is on all the pieces like this, so that they can glue to the top, because this small section is very small to be able to glue onto. So I'm just going to be gluing the small piece on the top like that, so that I can join to the next piece. So I've glued them like that, and I've done them on both sides, so when it comes to the bottom they're already in place. For the little corner pieces, I'm doing the same thing by adding the wee pieces of cardboard to that, so that when they glue on, I've got something to glue them onto. I've glued my 2 center strips in, and I've glued them at 38.3 centimeters apart, and now I'm going to be gluing the side one on. So I've glued both side pieces onto it, so that's what it looks like so far. So that's one of the little corner pieces stuck on, and now I'm going to be doing exactly the same on this side and that side, and then all the places that I've got a strap or a division. I've got all the corners on top of all the divisions, and now I'm going to be working on the bottom section. So I've got 20 centimeters at the bottom, so I'm going to be cutting the remainder of this cardboard in 20 centimeters, and it's going to be going around the 3 sides. I've cut my 20 centimeter cardboard, and I've just taken the whole piece and wrapped it around the side. And now what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be going to measure from the corner point over here, and I'm going in by 23 centimeters at the bottom, so that I can paint this section black, so that it can be an illusion that it's balancing on that particular platform. I'm going to do the same on the 3 sides, so from the corner going in by 23 centimeters on all the corners. And the piece of cardboard that we're going to be putting at the bottom, what I'm doing is I'm marking in 4 centimeters from the top, and I'm going to paint a black line just along there, so that that looks like the top part of the tank. I'm working on the corner pieces on the decoration for the whole thing. I'm going to be using a ruler that is a 3 centimeter wide ruler, which makes it easier than just measuring everything. So where I've drawn the line for the 4 centimeters at the top, I'm taking along the bottom line, along the corner, and we're going in by 23 centimeters, and I'm just joining that line like that. You can go in whatever angle that you want. I just want it to be a little bit sharp. A bit difficult to see that. And then from the line that is the 4 centimeter line at the top, I'm just using the ruler once again, and I'm drawing the line again, and the same on this line. And where we've stopped it on the corner just here, I'm taking the line straight up to the top piece. And as I said, I'm using the ruler so that I can just get the line like that. And then I've got along the bottom as well, we're just doing another line. And I'm doing that on both sides. I know it's a little bit difficult to see, but there's the 4 centimetre line, then we've got a 3 centimetres, and then we've got the 3 centimetre that goes all the way like that. Now I'm going to be painting that little triangle in black, and this whole section on the side here in black, and then moving on to, so we've got the little triangle, and then this whole section in between the 2 lines I'm painting black as well. For the side pieces, because they're a lot smaller than the big one, I'm only going in 16 centimeters and doing exactly the same pattern by doing the lines just like that, and then painting that black and this centerpiece black as well, and of course this side piece here. I've painted all the partitions in on the bottom, and now what I'm doing is I'm taking some red paint, because as you can see on some of the places the black is just a little bit too dark, so you can't see the divisions quite nicely. So I'm just putting a wee bit of red in some of the places so that there's a distinct difference between the two. I'm going to be using these snap-on screw caps to simulate the bolts. So they come as 2 pieces like that, and what you do is you take this little centerpiece, which is the little plastic one like that, and just place it in the center, and then you have to snap them closed. But they're quite difficult to snap, so I find if you take a pair of pliers you can snap them a lot easier, and it saves your fingers until you hear that click. And then I'm going to be placing them onto the frame like that. So on the long piece I'm using 8 on each row, and then I'm going to glue those down with some hot glue and paint them exactly the same way as we painted the whole frame. And on the smaller side I'm using 4 on each of the rows, so 4 on that one and 4 on that one. And I'm doing that on all of them. All the bolts have been painted black, and now I'm just taking the red paint with on a little sponge and just sponging a bit of the colour on. So a bit much on that one, so I'm just going to take some of it off and then just dab a little bit like that on all of the bolts. I've painted the back of the big piece that sits all the way around the bottom. I've painted it all black, and as you can see just here on the top it doesn't look very nice, so I'm just going to paint that black as well. To hang my rocky in my tank, I'm cut a piece of wire which is a 0.9 millimeter wire, and I'm cut it at 10 centimeters, and I'm just using that as a template to cut the others, and I'm doing 6 of these. So I'm just cutting that one. And then I've got a really small pair of round nose pliers which I'm dividing in the center and just bending the 2 pieces together to get them even. If your pieces is one longer than the other one, all you do is hold it in the middle and bend the long side to the short side until you get it the same length. So just like that. Now I don't know whether you can see this, but on my pliers I've marked a small little mark just over there so that I know that all of the connections are going to be the same size. So taking your pliers and putting it onto that little marking over there, and then make sure that there's no wire sticking out on that side. Just rotate your wire, and when you can't go any further, just turn it again and rotate, and you'll get a small little eyelet like that. and just do the same on the other side. So your piece looks like that. And now what I'm doing is I'm measuring 2 centimeters up, and then I'm going to bend it at a right angle. So I've measured the 2 centimeters, and all I'm doing is just collapsing the top so that I get a right angle like that. And then with the little pieces on the sides here, I'm flattening and making them go sideways so that they lie flat at the top, so that I can attach the fishing tackle to those pieces like that. I've put the hooks over the side of the tank, and I've just taped them down with some tape, and so my rocky is hanging quite nicely like that. So from the side, he's suspended quite nicely. Now that everything is dry and in place, we can start gluing it together. So I'm going to start on the corner and work my way around. The base has all been glued on, and now what I'm doing is I'm taking the small little pieces that I've put the little pieces of cardboard around them, and I'm going to be gluing them all into the corners on the bottom piece. My decoration is completed, and I'm using my fish tank lights at the top, so when I switch them on, that's what it's going to look like. I'll show you a nighttime picture later. As you can see, in this area there's not an awful lot of lighting, so this is what my decoration is going to look like. So it brightens up this area quite nicely. If you found this video helpful or you enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up. Really appreciate it if you would subscribe. Thank you so much for watching.